Hello everyone, welcome to another video in Python GUI form tutorial using modern Tkinter themes. In this video, we're going to create a data entry form application. Also, we will demonstrating grid management in Python and Tkinter image handling. Let's have a look at the application we're going to create. So as you can see, it's a very simple, basic um, input form with first, last name, age, comment box, and radio button for genders. So I'm gonna input the first name and the last name. I'm gonna choose just the date here, whatever it is, and just something for the comment box, and click on a gender and submit. Now the data will get saved to an Excel file. Let's try it again. I want to demonstrate another feature. So we're going to clear and it wipe out everything. And exit will quit the application. As you can see, our Excel file got created and saved here. So without further ado, let's just jump in and create this app together. Okay, in the first step, we're going to create a main window application and a frame. But before that, let's import Tkinter. And let's go here and put a comment down, step 1. So root equal to themed tk, and in the parentheses, theme ARC. Okay, so Themed TK used for styling our application and give it more modern looking. So we need to import it from our Tkinter. And also we're gonna use TTK. It used to create modern layout and application that we can't do using classic Tkinter. So after initializing our root window, we're gonna go ahead and give it a title. So root.title, we're gonna call it data entry form or application. And we also need a geometry, so we want to make it resizable so we can expand it and resize it. So we set this to true, and also root.geometry. Let's say we want to give it 600 x 700. Okay, we need to center the frame that we will create within our main window. To do that, we're going to use two methods. They called grid underscore row configure and also grid underscore column configure. This is used to help us in order for our application to be resizable and responsive. First, we're going to call it on our root window. So root.grid underscore row configure. And we're going to give here the row number, and we're going to give it weight of 1. Same thing for our columns. We're going to use only one row and one column in our root window. We're going to create a frame and put everything in our frame. The next step I'm going to show it to you guys. So yep, this looks good. Let's go and create our frame. So create the frame equal to, we're going to use TTK here instead of TK. Frame, we pass it to root, padding 20. And also we want to use grid. So frame.grid row 0 column 0, and also want to pass sticky to it. Sticky is to stick the widget to a side of cell. So I'm going to say north, south, east, and west. We're going to use NSEW for that. Now we want to configure our frames grid to be responsive. So I'm going to say frame grid column configure. And the first column, weight 1. Also gonna do the same thing. Red column configure. Want to do for column number 2. Well, basically column number 1, but it's the second one. And also column number 3. So we're gonna use 3 column in our frame, and we want them to be responsive, so we have to use this method for all 3 of them, as well as for our rows. So depend on how many rows we're going to use. Since we have more rows, I'm going to use a loop to do that. Range would be 8 because we're going to use 8 rows. And frame.grid underscore row configure. We're going to pass it I and weight 1. Okay, we're good here. I'm gonna move this code to the top, but let's go to the next step. So in this step, we're going to define our style. We will do that using the TTK and a class called style. We will use configure method in this class to apply our styling. So style.configure, and we're gonna pass our widget name starting with T, and we're gonna pass font here. Let's say Helvetica, and the size would be 10. I want to go to padding of let's see, I think 10 would be good. What is happening here? Yep, this need to be in parentheses, and padding 10. We're gonna do the same thing for label, entry, and text. So configure T label, font, I'm just gonna copy paste it, it'll be faster. Style.configure T entry, and font T text, and label. Alright, this looks good. If you guys remember, when we were demonstrating the application, you saw a logo beside each entry. So those Legos are basically pictures that we loaded to our application. Now we want to add that. In order to edit our image, we need a package called Pillow. Pillow image editing is a tool that we use to make changes to the image we load. And from that package, we need to import image and image TK so we can load and interact with our image. So first we will need to create a variable with the logo size, and also we create a method for loading our image and resizing it, because we want to resize the image we're gonna load. We don't want to use it that size. The image could be any size. We need to make it compatible with our application. That is why we have to resize it. So I'm gonna create a method here that will load and resize the image. So this method will take two parameters, as I said, the image path and the size, and it will use those to load the image and resize it. So first we need to get the image using a method called open that I used here. Then using resize method, we will change the size of our image and make it any size we want to. We have passed the image size as a parameter, so we'll just use it here. Then we're going to use something called image lancos. So when we load the image, the quality will decrease. To make sure we avoid that, we use image.lancos. And then we return image tk photo image will let us to use an image with Tkinter widgets, so it'll embed it to the widgets. That's why we're returning the image using this method. Now the only thing left is to pass our image path to the method, so we're gonna go down there and do it. Okay, here. So I created a folder called images in my application and I passed a bunch of images to it. So here we go. I'm gonna create a variable and just use the same size for all the images. 30 at 30. So we had image for the first name, last name, age, comment, and gender. So load logo, passing the path here, and then size. As you can see, this is the image folder, images, and I have all these here. So next would be size. We repeat the same thing for our next images. Logo, last name, load dot logo, image path, and the size. Next one, logo underscore age, load logo, path to the image, and size. So comment, yep, load logo, repass the path here, logo size. All right, last one, the gender, logo underscore gender equal to load logo, the path, and the size. Okay, we're looking good here. Let's go to the next step, which is creating the widgets. Okay, so we're going to create our 4 elements. Step 4, creating widgets. In order to do that, we're going to use TTK instead of TK. That way we make it more interactive. Then after that, we're going to arrange all our widgets. The first one would be first name. So TTK label, frame, text, first name, and we're gonna give it grid, rows 0, and column 0. Make it sticky, west. So we want it to align to the left side of the row. Then paddocks 0, 10, and pad y, we'll give it 5. Okay, so this is the label, and we're gonna have entry for the first name, so the user can input their first name. So ttk dot entry frame. Gonna make it grid, row 0. This should be in front of the label, so we're gonna give it column 1. 1. And we wanted to drag it from left to right, so east to west, we can say. Pad y 5. We don't need pad x for this. And also we have our logo. So when I display the logo right where the label and the entry is. Yep. So we're gonna use frame image, and then we pass the image name, the variable we created to load the image. Then grid, gonna be first row and third column, so in column number 2. Paddocks 10, pad y 5. I want to keep it consistent. So we're gonna repeat the same thing for the last name. Exactly, so label, entry, and the logo. Label, frame, last name. Last name dot grid, row. Yep, 1, column 0. So we want to be next row. And sticky west. Same paddocks and pad y. Actually, we're gonna make it 0, 10. Entry frame and entry last name grid. Dot grid, row 1, column 1. and sticky EW. And pad Y 5. Okay. Label. So logo, label, LBL, last name. ttk.label. Frame. Image, logo, last name. So now we have the grid. Row 1, column 2, paddocks 10, 0, pad Y 5. Alright, we're good for the last name. Now the next one would be age. Actually, I've copied myself here. Just delete this. Yep. So we're gonna have age here where we use a calendar. So we're gonna have label. We're gonna say age. And grid. Row 2, column 0. Sticky west. Paddock 0, pad Y 5. Actually, let's make paddocks 0, 10. Okay, now we want a calendar to select the date of birth from. We do that using the calendar class from TK calendar package. So step 5, creating calendar. We want the calendar to default to the current date when we open it. So we need to create a variable called today, and we use the method date time.date to access the current date. So today equal to date time dot date dot today. This gives us current date. And then we create a calendar object and pass it to the frame. So calendar. Okay, we need to import the package here. So import actually from Tkinter, TK calendar, import calendar. No, it's TK calendar. I think calendar works as well. Yep. All right, calendar frame. And select mode, we want to say day. Let's select based on a day, and we want to use the options that it has year. So today dot year, it'll pass today year, like this year, and month, it'll be today dot month. which will pass to the object current month. And the same thing for the day. Today.day. Then we want to arrange this using grid. Row 3, column 1, sticky EW. Pad Y 5. Okay. And we want to remove it initially, because if we don't, when user run the app, they'll see the calendar. We want to toggle it, so we're gonna bind it to an event called calendar selected. So whenever this event happens, we want to go to a method that we're gonna create and define later on date selected. So this helps us to bind this event to that method. Yep, we used Python GUI event handling here. And now we're creating a variable to display selected date. So we're going to leave the text empty, and using the method here, we're going to insert the selected date to the variable. So we're going to define pass for now. Just didn't want to see the error. And we want to give it grid. Column 1 sticky EW. Okay, we are good here. Also, we need a method to toggle the calendar, so we can remove it and keep it. We're gonna have a button to do that. So we create a button and pass the toggle calendar method to it, the method that will define, that will help us to do this. Okay, now let's go define our methods. So toggle calendar, let's say pass for now, because we have forgot to organize the button. Let's organize it first. btn toggle cat.grid, row 2, column 1, sticky EW, and pad Y5. So beside the calendar, we want to see a logo. So we're going to say logo LBL. Yeah, logo LBL age. So label, we're going to pass it to the frame as usual. And we're going to have image here. Logo age. It's the logo we had for this. And we're going to organize it. row 2, column 2. Okay, now let's go and create our, like, define our methods. The first one is going to be on date selected. We'll pass an event argument to it. So first we need to get the date user selected. We do that using cal.getDate method. Then we want to insert it to the variable we created for displaying the date. So selected date label was it, and we use the config method, and text equal to selected date. Then we want to remove the calendar from displaying after user select a date. So it'll automatically get removed. Then we want to toggle the calendar. So to do that, we're going to use a method called winfoisMap, which is, it returns a Boolean value. So if the calendar is displaying here, it'll return true. So if it's displaying, we remove it. If it's not, we're keeping it. Now we go to next step, which is creating a comment box. So to do that, first we're gonna have a comment here. Create comment box. First we need a label, so we can display that this is a comment box. Frame text comment. As you guess, we're gonna organize it using grid. Paddix 0, 10, pad y 5. Now for the comment box itself, we're gonna use text. We pass it to the frame. We define height and width for 20, let's say, would be good. Okay, then grid. Okay, so we also need a logo for the comment box. So we use a label to do that, just like before. Frame. We're gonna use image, pass it the logo here, and grid. Column 2, Paddix 10, 0, pad y 5. Yeah, we keep it consistent. Okay, next step. We had a radio button, as you remember, for selecting the gender. So in this step, we're gonna do that using var variable. So var variable will help us to capture user response. So first we need a label and pass it to the frame. going to use grid as usual to organize it. Row 5, column 0, sticky west, pad X and pad Y. So as I mentioned before in previous videos, var variable used to capture widgets response, like radio button, and we're gonna define one here because we want to use this to capture the response, what is selected by the user, and we want to have a separate frame so we can organize these 3 ready buttons better. So I created a separate frame for gender here, and I'm gonna pass it to the original frame we have, and we need to organize the frame, the newly created frame, which is called gender frame, and pad Wi-Fi. Yeah, so we had 3 ready buttons: male, female, and others. So we're gonna say gender and male. We're gonna use a widget called radio button, and we pass it to the gender frame. I want to have text male. We're gonna use variable option, and this is where we pass our string var. Yep. So we pass the same one to all 3 of them. So we created one gender var, and we pass it to all 3 ready buttons. That way we know which one is selected. So the one that has value, it means it's the one that's selected. Okay, female. Yep. Also, we are defining the value here. So this is the value we pass when the button is selected by the user. We need to define the last one. Others, variable. Okay, last but not least, we need to organize these as usual. So we're gonna go down here, gender and male dot grid. Remember, the 0 here is not like first row. It's gonna be first row in the gender frame, not the frame, because we create a separate gender, so we have different set of rows and columns. Yeah, we want to keep it all on the same row but different columns. Gender, TTK label, pass it to the frame, image, logo, gender. Then we have the grid for this widget. Row 5, column 2, and pad X as well as path y. Okay, we look good here. We want to go to our last widgets now. I think we have 3 buttons. First one will be the submit button, which will have a function called submit form, which will insert the data into an Excel file. And also we have a clear button, which will clear the form, and exit, which will quit the application. So we're going to give it here submit underscore form and clear ttk.button. Same thing, pass it to the frame, text clear, and we need a method for it as well. Clear form. The last one would be exit app. So these are all TTK. We don't use TK. When we use TTK, as I said, automatically we will have some kind of more modern design. We don't have to customize it in any way. Just Tkinter does that for us. Then we need to go and define those methods. Submit form. I'm gonna pass for now. The other one was clear form, pass, and the last one was, I think, exit app and pass as well. Now let's go back. Yeah, we need to organize them as well. Clear submit.grid row 6. We want to have them all on the same row but different columns. And when we expand it from left to right, or as we define it here, right to left. Doesn't matter actually which way. Column 1, same as the last one. Pad extend, pad y. Actually, pad x5 here, let's do. We did pad x5 in the previous one as well. Yeah. Exit grid. Same thing, except the column would be 2 here. Okay. Looking good. Okay, let's get to step number 9 and define our functions. The first one would be submit form. But before doing that, let me just put a comment here. Step 9, function to submit the form data. Okay. I'm just gonna copy it, paste it here instead. We need to reorganize some of these functions actually. So first we need to get our variables entries such as first name, last name, age, comment box, and all that. So we'll have it. When the submit button is clicked, we want to have those information so we can insert it to our Excel file. Okay. date, we use cget. So we get it from the text option here. Use the text option to get the value. Comment dot get. When we start from the first index all the way till the end. And we're going to use dot strip. This method will remove any unnecessary leading and trailing white spaces. Then we need to make sure all the fields are filled using an error box after getting all our variables. Gender was the last one. So if not first name or not last name, you get the idea here. So we want to make sure that all those are filled. If one of them is not filled, so the user wouldn't put anything in them, we want to show an error box, like a message box, that you need to fill in the entry field. Message box. Actually, we need to import it first. So we come here from or oh, we can put it here, yeah. So we have Tkinter already. Message box. Okay. Oh, we still have the error. Let's go message box. Show error. Input error. All fields are required. Good. And we'll return. Okay, now we need to write our data to an Excel sheet. This is where all the real magic happens. We're gonna create a class called, we're gonna use a class called workbook, but first we need to import a package called openpyxl, which will help us to interact with the Excel environment. And we're gonna import a class called workbook. Also import OS, which help us to interact with our system directory, and date time to get the current date. So workbook, openxyl, and load workbook. This will be our Excel file name. So we're not creating it here, we're just loading it. I'm going to show you guys how to load it, but we need to have this load workbook method to load it first, then we can append to it. So I created a variable called sheet and workbook.active, which will get the currently active workbook we have. And then we use the append method to insert the variables we want to it. Okay, this seems like all of it. Then we need to save whatever we have appended. Yeah, file name. And we want to have a message box to show that we have successfully saved the data into an Excel sheet. So we have loaded our sheet to the variable called sheet here, as you can see, and appended all the info we want to it, and then saved it. Now we'll show our message here. And we want to clear the form after we submit. So we now need to define the clear form, but before that, we're gonna go and create our Excel sheet if it does not exist. So we need to check the path first and make sure that this Excel file does not exist. If it does not exist, we're gonna go ahead and create it. First, we need to create a workbook object from workbook class. We call the active method to activate it. And we need to append our variables to it and save it, just like we did. This is just like a database when we create a table and we give each field a name, and then we use those and insert to the table later. So this is like defining our table here, and in the submit form method, we have appended to these fields. We need to save. Excel SX. Yep, we are good now. Let's go down. We're gonna define here our clear form method. So this is used to clear all the entries, so all the forms. So we need to go one by one and delete any entry that exists in those widgets. We do so using the delete method for the entry fields we have, the entry widgets. And for the calendar, there's something called selection clear. Yep. And also after that, we need to set today's date. I'm gonna set it to today. After we clear it, whatever it was, we're gonna make it default to today date. So set underscore date. All right. Wait, this is stuck. So my keyboard right now is stuck for some reason. Just give me a minute. Okay. Cal dot select set date actually. I don't see it. We can also use selection set. To today. Yep, that'll work too. Not sure what happened to that method, but it used to be set underscore date. Okay, we should be good here. Let me just make sure this is the method. Yep, it is. All right, so next step, we want to clear the comment box. We're going to use same delete, and from first to the last index. We also had var variable. We want to set it to nothing. And we had a label that we're displaying the selected date. We need to remove that as well. We're going to set it to nothing. Okay, last function we need to exit the app. That was the easiest. Root dot destroy. This is the method that is used to exit the application. All right, we're good. Let's go and run the app and make sure everything works as expected. Like test everything, all the features and functions we have created and defined here. So I'm gonna right click, run app. Okay, wait for it. Here we go. As you can see, our buttons here are different. They're different looking than when we use regular TK. So we're gonna just input some info just to test that out. Select a date, whatever. Yep, it's displaying here. That works. Male, female, whatever. Submit. Okay, we get the message box. Let's try to do it again. Test the clear function. Yep, it works. Exit also worked. Okay, so our buttons are working. Let's see if we have the data, like Excel data file created for us. I did try the app more than a few times to make sure everything works. So we go here, data. Yep, we can see it here. Let's just click on it. I don't have the license, but it should show. Yep. As you can see, we can see all our info, all those entry fields inserted here. So we're good. Okay, so to sum up, some of the features we had in this app was Python GUI form tutorial. We had modern Tkinter themes, grid management in Python, Tkinter image handling, pillow image editing, Python GUI event handling, and Tkinter calendar selection. I really hope you enjoyed watching this video, guys. If you did, please leave me a comment, like, or subscribe. I would really appreciate that. And I'll see you in the next video. Happy coding, guys.